Welcome back, dear listeners, for yet another installment of Twilight Abridged. The chapter begins with Edward's blatant disregard for traffic laws, and Bella's continuing to badger him with questions. Early in this conversation, Meyer attempts to confuse you by ending one paragraph of Edward speaking, then begins the next paragraph with his speaking yet again, without providing any evidence of who it was until after the dialogue was done. Then he monologues for a bit about his mind reading, and then Bella asks why he can't hear her thoughts. He doesn't know either, but we, the readers, can know that it's simply because Meyer wants Bella to be oh so special. I'm giving this away now, but at no point throughout the series is this ever explained. Instead, Meyer tried to explain it in a Q&A type of setup, saying that it is because Bella has a private mind. To you, Meyer, I would say that Bella's being the only private person for Edward to have encountered in his lifetime is complete and utter bullshit, and you damn well know it. Not to mention that you have already established in the second chapter that Bella is quite easy to read for anyone other than Edward, meaning that you must be fucked in the head to assume that no one would notice your blatant disregard for even the most simplistic of traits to be able to remain consistent with. Thus, you have no room whatsoever to even attempt to try to say that Bella is normal and an every teen, when you cannot even give a fucking explanation of why she's so special without pulling a response out of your ass that everyone except your most rabid of fans can spot as being fallacious. You're supposed to be telling a story, not running for government office. You should be able to give a straight answer. Moving on. Bella uses a phrase that is obviously a bit of self-insertion on Meyer's part, because no every teen would use the phrase holy crow instead of what the hell or holy shit when in a car that's moving too quickly. And yet, despite his moving far too above the speed limit, the police never interfere with him. And if you expect to explain that this is because he can read minds, don't bother. You and I both know that that does not work. Meyer, on the other hand, apparently has her head too far up her own ass to take into account that he wouldn't be able to pick up on radar detectors, especially when he wouldn't be able to know when a cop is nearby. After all, a cop won't sit there thinking about themselves being a cop. Not to mention that he says that this is how he always drives. So fuck you, Meyer. I've called you out on yet another facet of your bullshit. Edward is not that super special awesome. Oh, and remember how Bella said that she wouldn't tell anyone that Jacob had told her what he had? And I predicted to you that she couldn't keep her promise? I was right. The bitch tells Edward that Jacob had told her that, even though what Jacob had said should have told anyone with a working brain that Edward should have been the last person to tell. And yet Meyer expects us to think that she's smart on any level? Oh, and fans, here's a point for you to dislike the movie even more. Remember in the trailer how when Bella asks Edward how old he is? That wasn't in a forest. It was while they were in his car. And yet, when she asks him how long he's been that age and he replies, a while, she accepts it and leaves it at that, not bothering to inquire further. I guess Meyer doesn't want you to actually realize that he's old enough to be your grandpa. Immediately after, they have a Q&A of their own that was incredibly forced into the story, almost as if it came in long after it was originally written. This session is used to simply brush off any traits of folkloric vampires without any explanation as to why people might have thought them to be true, which makes Meyer one arrogant bitch. Of course, I still stand by the fact that they aren't vampires anyway. They're fairies. Edward says it's a mistake to be alone with her, because he's so damn dangerous, but you never see it. He never attacks her or even comes close to doing so. Then Edward bitches about being a vampire. Stupid emo bastard. Then he mentions that he can't go out in sunlight where anyone can see, and I'm quite looking forward to the chapter where Bella finds out why. Bella already indicates that she's attracted to him, and he seems bothered by it. but she starts to whine like a bitch, so he apologizes for upsetting her. Wait, what? Bella then says that just before he showed up, she was trying to remember some self-defense. But if you read back, you can notice that this is complete bullshit too. Bella then makes him promise to be in class the next day. Then he makes her promise not to go into the woods alone. He says it's because he's not the most dangerous thing. And to that, I say, duh! You talk a lot of shit, but you never actually show yourself to be as dangerous as you try to claim. Of course there's something more dangerous. Probably something that actually is. Moving on again. When Bella gets home, Charlie's a bit concerned about her being home so early, but she brushes him off. Bella left her jacket in Jessica's car, and they arrange for her to give it back in school. Bella then takes a shower and goes to bed. And then, Meyer pulls the biggest bit of bullshit in this chapter. Despite how few times Bella and Edward had interacted, despite the lack of information she really has about him as a person, and despite any reason anyone could possibly have against it, Meyer specifically tells you that Bella is in love with Edward already. What the fuck? Thank you for joining me for yet another installment of Twilight Abridged, brought to you by the good people of TwilightSucks.com. Twilight sucks because falling in love within a few weeks is as unbelievable as Ryan Seacrest claiming he's heterosexual.